All right, so we have a 1997 Honda Civic. I believe this is the EX. I don't know what X it is. I have to look it up again. But it might be a TX. I don't know. It's the hatchback. But we're going to put some axles on it. So we got to take the tire off first. Like this, stick it under the car. And looking under here, this is the longer one. This is the annoying one, and the other one's the short one. So we'll start with the hardest one. I don't think we have to take this off, but let me get a light and I'll show you what's going on here. So most Hondas I've ever worked on has this style of suspension. They have this upper control arm, right? And they have this as part of the knuckle. So what you have to do is like take this brake line loose from the knuckle, and you can take the caliper off. You may not need to, I don't know. And I'll just lean this knuckle out far enough and probably be able to get to the axle that is down here. Now, to fit this axle out, you have to take off the bottom of this strut. So you have this lower control arm, and you have this mount for the strut that comes around the axle. Let me move the camera back in there so you can see. All right, so you can see this axle is 8 up. The boot's completely gone, right? And yes, you can reboot an axle, right? And if you want to mess with that and it's a big, greasy, nasty mess, go for it. This axle may or may not be completely bad yet, right? It has a bad boot. But we're just going to replace the whole axle because you can get them for like 50 bucks on Rock Auto, complete. So it's just cheaper and easier to do it that way. But you can see that strut mount comes through there. So we're going to have to take out this bolt right here, and we're going to have to take out this bolt right here. This back bolt on the strut, you can loosen it and it'll jiggle, but it won't come off until you take that bolt completely out. It has an indentation where it runs through the strut. And then you'll have to pry down on the control arm to get that back in. So yeah, all kinds of fun stuff. We might have to take this tie rod in loose. The tie rods are pretty good. I did replace those a couple years ago when I put a rack and pinion in this. So yeah, and we're gonna get it done. I have to look. And this caliper just has like a 12 millimeter on the bottom, then it swings up and off. And then we'll get a hook, we'll get some 10 millimeters to take this off, right? And then we'll have to get some bigger ones to take that. I don't know if that's a 14, it looks like maybe a 17. And we'll just start taking this knuckle, and we just need to lean the knuckle forward. I don't think we'll have to take the ball joint out of the bottom. And then we can get that strut mount out and get the axle out. Not a hard job, but more stuff to take apart than you have on a GM, right? Well, let me work on getting this bolt out, hopefully. Oh yeah, she's gonna come out. Nice. Oh, if I put it on loosen. Alright, we'll take that out. I think that's, nope, there's another one holding it. Oh, yep, okay. Let me try that one. Just the ratchet. You gotta be kidding me. Oh, come on. I'm gonna have to go get it shallow to get that out, I think. Let me try the smaller ratchet. Or an extension. Let me get an extension. There's no snap-on tools being used here, so this car may never run again. This is a Pittsburgh extension, and I mean it works. It just doesn't fit my hand very well, you know. But you know, I think it'll work. Yeah. It's a Carlisle ratchet. They don't make this style of head anymore. The heads are bigger now, so I don't buy them. But I bought plenty of them when they were available, so I'm set. This is my Husky ratchet, and it's gotten to where sometimes if you go to break the bolt loose, it'll slip, but it still turns okay. So I usually break it loose with my manual ratchet, and then switch the socket and take it out. I could buy a new electric ratchet. I actually have a Harbor Freight one of those Hyper Toughs out in my truck, but you know, I probably should just bring that in here, but this one still works. It's been good for years. They want so much for everything now, it ain't worth buying it if you don't have to. All the prices have gone way up. And I'm not even talking snap-on. I don't know. Hate to see how much a snap-on is. We'll take this caliper off. Just be careful not to bust this boot. I do have a spare one, but they do not carry them for these older Hondas at the Advance or whatever. I had to order these from the Rock Auto. We'll just hang that up there for now, or hang it over here in this motor mount. There we go. So now we got to take this out, and I have to look and see, is there a cotter pin in there? Yes, there is. So I'll have to try to bend that cotter pin around and get it. Oh yeah, got her out. Take this out. I guess you guys couldn't really see me working up there, but so I took this axle nut off right here, or this. I took this castle nut off right here. Right, I had to take the cotter pin out of it, take the castle nut off. When I put it back on, I'll try to put the hole more vertically, so it'll be easier to get that if I can. But I'm going to have to try to hammer on this and maybe knock this a couple times with the castle nut on it. So I'll just probably screw this castle nut on backwards if it'll go on backwards. And then make it so that it's flush with that bolt. And right there. And then we'll hit that with the hammer and hopefully knock that out of there. But I am going to take this axle nut off next. Make sure I put this on 3. Okay. Okay, that's off. And this has a little spot here when you tighten it, you chink that down and it has a little groove in the axle. But the axle will probably come with a new axle nut. So if it comes with a new one, I'll use it. But I don't have a problem reusing axle nuts like if I'm taking it apart for another reason. I'll go ahead and pull the brake pads out here. These are pretty new. We just changed the brake pads. We kept the same rotor, but we changed the pads. So I don't think we have to take the caliper bracket and the rotor off, but we'll have to tap on this to make sure it's loose, and make sure this axle's loose. So let me get a big hammer here. Get my BFH 9000 right here. This belonged to my father-in-law, so I still use it. Okay, it's starting to kind of come loose. Just move it a few times to make sure it's good and loose there. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and throw one of these lug nuts on the rotor so that won't flip around. If I can figure out where I put my I just had it, my socket for the lug nuts. There it is. This is just a flip socket. This has an 18.5 and a 19.5. I wish they made these flip sockets so it was like 18.5 and that next size up, which is like 22 or and a half or whatever. I've never had to use the 18.5. But the 19.5 is nice when you have swollen lugs. There we go. That'll just hold the rotor on so it's not flipping around. Alright, so I guess the next thing I'm going to do is take the bolts out for this strut. We're going to try that before we knock this loose, I think. So that should be a 14. And we should be able to get that on the bolt back here. The bolts are rusty crusty. Alright, let me take you around here. And you can see what I'm doing. Hopefully. Take it out a little farther. There you go. Now we're just going to try to break this loose. I might have to get my long ratchet out. I don't know. Oh, no. Boy, she tight. I'm gonna need something more serious. All right. Well, that fits on there pretty good. All right. We'll get our little breaker bar. I hope that bolt don't snap. All right, I'm sorry the camera moved. I'm not sure where it moved at, but I did get this bolt. I worked it back and forth. I got that bolt out. It's right here. It was pretty rusty, but I finally got it out. And now this one's on here ungodly tight, so we gotta break it loose. I got I don't know if you'll be able to see where I'm working. Probably not, but I'm going onto this bolt right here. So we're just gonna try to break that loose with my breaker bar. Ooh! Holy crap! Holy bejesus! That thing's tight. Let me see if I can get in there with my impact. Wow. thing's on there tight. Let me try it without the extension. Let me put some WD-40 on it. You guys always say, well, let us soak some penetrating fluid in there. Then it'll come out. That doesn't usually work. Where it works if you have 4 days to soak it with penetrating fluid. I don't have 4 days. I'm leaving for Florida at the end of the week, so. Yeah. Alright, that got the whole bolt turning. So now we gotta hold the other side. Yeah, it really was not the WD-40. It's the fact that I took the extension off the impact. The extension sucked the power out of it. I know you guys are going to get all excited, like, see, we told you, WD-40 works. No, you need to use this special Panther Pea stuff. Or, you know, it's some kind of special penetrating fluid. It don't matter if you spray it with water. You just want to get it moving a little bit. Now I gotta try to get the socket out of here. There we go. Get the nut out of the socket. Sit there, let me get my BFH 9000, hit that bolt out. Now, it will not come out on this side usually. Have to sit the screwdriver down here and kind of hit on it. Get it to come on out. She's coming. Oh, she's close. Man, she's close. Let me go under the axle and hit it. Down here. Yeah, maybe. No, that's not gonna work. Gotta go over the axle. Go over the axle and hit it. Man, these usually come right out, but this one is really stuck. Maybe try some WD-40. I'll try some magic. There. Let's see if she comes out now. If it comes right out. I don't know what I'm going to say. Nope. There she goes. Hey, the WD-40 did it. Alright, now this should be loose on the bottom. And you can slowly kind of turn that off the bottom of the strut. Let me move it up a little. Move it over towards me so you can kind of see what I'm doing. There. Okay, that'll come out. Then this will come out. Now we're ready to get down to business. Ready for some business. So what we'll have to do, we might have to take this off the tie rod, but before I do that, I'm gonna try to see if we just lean this out, if that'll come out. We'll spray some magic WD-40 on this. There, a little magic. There we go. So I hit this. So you tap on that nut, but you don't want to hit it too hard. But a lot of times you do a little shock and awe on the control arm, it'll snap that loose. So now we'll take this capsule nut off. Just when you work on enough of these, you start to get the hang of it. So now that's loose. Now we're gonna see if we can turn it enough to get that axle to come up out of there. There we go, we got it. And this little plastic piece, I think, is over the end of the axle. I don't know if it comes with a new one, so we'll save that. Now, we just got to get up to the transmission, clear back here, and snap it out. This is going to be the fun part because this is the long one. So, get clear back here. Clear back in here with the pry bar. And pop that loose from the transmission and get a drip pan ready because it's going to leak some fluid. The other one's easier because it's closer. I might have to jack this car up higher to get them back under there. I'll see. Alright, so I got the axle out. You just have to pry back there and just stick a pry bar in it and pry it. Honda axles come out super easy. I've never had one like stick and not come out. Unlike some Chryslers and Nissans and Toyotas can be a bear, especially if they have a bearing and you have a bearing race that's seized. But these Hondas are pretty easy to do. It looks like it is the same. I mean, it has a little different end on it with the indentations, but that's fine. This looks the same. This is all loose. So that was bad for sure. I'll repack and a boot wouldn't have done it. This one looks good. These have the ring on them for the ABS sensors. But this car does not have ABS. But a lot of times the factory axles will come ABS and non-ABS with or without that ring. But the aftermarket ones just all have the ABS ring on them. So that's why I know this is probably an aftermarket axle that's been replaced at some time. This car's been around since 1997, you know. But that should fit in there and do perfectly good. It does come with this little plastic piece that came off of the other one. So that's good. So we're all set. Alright. So I had to get the charger and the battery pack out for my phone because it's dying. So now we're going to put this all the way back in here, all the way back in to the transmission, clear in the back here. And I know you guys can't see it. It's back there in that dark hole. But men should be used to sticking things in holes in the dark. If you're not, then you shouldn't be working on cars. So now we're gonna stick this back in here. Let's see if I can get some light up here to see the hole. It just needs some hair around it. Then kind of just jiggle it. It should lock in there. It should. You might have to just tap on it a little with the hammer. So we're gonna it would help if we were putting the right end of the axle in there. That one's not gonna fit. That's the end that goes to the wheel hub. Man, it was like, hey, wrong hole, wrong hole. There it goes. All right. It helps if you're putting the right end in the right hole. Okay. So now let's take this in. And we're going to move it over just enough. Get her in there. And kind of jiggle it again. Until it's happy. There it's happy. All right. Now we'll go ahead and put our upper control arm castle nut back on here loosely to help hold this. Okay. Now we got to get our strut mount back on. So that'll drop in around the axle. Like so. It'll go up here. We can stick that top bolt in and get it started. Oh, I soaked them in some WD-40, so they got some magic juice. And we'll stick that one in here. Let me find my 14. I think that was a 14, wasn't it? Yeah. I'll tell you, you could just never find the socket that you're looking for. This is not the socket you're looking for. Oh, it's on my ratchet. Let me switch that to Titan. Woo, she's a tight one. Let me take her back out of there and just loosen her up a little. Loosen her back up a little bit. Take her back and forth. Get her happy. Maybe put some more lube on it. Oh, wait, I want to put that on the power ratchet. Man, oh man. Some more of the magic juice. Put some more of the magic juice in here. Wherever that hole is. Okay. Okay, let's put her back on tight and see if we can get her snug up in there. Let me loosen her again. Throw some more WD on her. She's really rusty. She hasn't been out there in a long, long time. Kind of jiggle this side to side to get your bolt to go in. Get her to go all the way up. There we go. Now we'll try to tighten her down again. Okay, we'll get the hand ratchet and finish that off. I'd rather just leave it jiggly for now because I have to put this bottom bolt in. And these can be a lot of fun, but this one doesn't seem like it's too tight to push down. Like a lot of them, this is really tight, especially when you're doing it for the very first time. It's like, man, we put new upper control arms and stuff in, it gets really tight, and you have to get an alignment pen, drive it in this side, put the bolt in the other side. It's to be a bit of a nightmare. Let me find the bolt for this one. I think it's this one. Yes. Okay, and that bolt went in this side. Man, oh man, these can be a little bit of fun. Let me get my light over here where I can see what's going on. Okay. Okay, it needs to go back. There we go. Now, get my BFH 9000. That bolt in. All right, now we'll just have to put our nut on the other side. I believe that one is a bigger one than a 14. That one was like a 17, I think. Yes, okay. So we'll go ahead and put that on there and snug it up. Now we don't want to tighten because this was turning. Okay, once that's snug, then we can go back here and snug this up. Possibly. I mean, we don't want it too tight, not like it was before, but we'll go ahead and throw the impact on there on number 2 and see if we can tighten her up that way. Oh, that's 1, that's 2. Oh, that's 2. Alright, that's plenty tight. Alright. So now we just have to finish tightening this 14 right here on this part of the strut mount. Let me find my 14. Now, what did I do with my 14? There it is. Okay. And this will pinch the strut to hold it tight. But if it comes loose, it has that groove in it. So it's not going to come loose and it's going to fall out. It will still won't go past that groove. It'll just make a lot of noise. And we're good. Okay. So we're set there. Now we have to tighten this one up. And I believe that was a 17 and it was a short. So we'll go ahead and tighten it up with that. I was going to move that hole for the cotter pin, but I didn't. That's okay. It'll just make it a little more challenging to get it on there. You want this pretty tight, but you want to line it up with the hole. So turn a little, look. We're getting close. A little more, look. Just a hair more. And there we're perfect. We're perfectly lined up with that hole so we can stick a cotter pin through there. I'm going to use a cotter pin with a little bigger end. That other one had a really tiny end. And then you can't feed it out of there. We'll take the big end. We'll bend it around. And we'll take the big end. And we'll just push it up. Like so. And we'll have to take our side cuts. And cut some of that off. And we'll just cut this off a little and make that flush. There we go. So now our cotter pin's in. Alright, I think we're good to go. No transmission fluid came out, so it might be low. I'll have to check it. We just got to put our caliper back on. We got to put our brake pads back in. And make sure all of your little things are in here. The holds the pads, the brake hardware. That one's in there. So we're missing one. Oh, there it is. Okay, so we just got to put that on there. These Honda brake pads could be fun to put in sometimes. That's the one that went in the back. We'll put the front one in first. You can tell it's got the wear marks out here where the caliper hits it, and the other one's got the ring on it. It went on the inside. Usually the inside wears out first, so that's where you put your squealer tab. And these are really a lot of fun to get lined up and started. I do believe that one went okay. A lot of times these are just a pain in the, a Honda are just a pain in the butt sometimes. Those went right in. So now we have to look and see how that goes. That goes up there. This goes on here. Okay. Just make sure you don't have your hose twisted. Make sure you put your boot back on. You just have to kind of feel it. Get that back on there. Nope. Oh, we came off of that end now. Darn it. Okay, so we'll put our boot back on this end. We'll get it. Okay, now we have to put our boot back on this end. And you should just be able to push it and turn. It should go back on there. There it goes. Okay, now we just have to push our brake pads in. This will have to come out. There we go. And we gotta put our long bolt back in. Tighten that up. It's 14. Find my 14. That might be a 12. Yeah, it's 12. And we'll just give her a good snugging. There we go. Now we gotta put these two 10 millis back in. I'm gonna go ahead and spray those with a little WD, even though they didn't come out hard. They look pretty clean. We'll WD them. Get our hook. Don't forget your hooks. You'd be surprised how many times a car comes back to me 3 years later for brakes. And I find the hook that I left under there. I'm like, there's my hook. Alright, that's good. We are all set except for the axle nut. Now, people always tell me, like, don't you torque your axle nuts? Blah, blah, blah. Like, I do sometimes, but, not normally. Normally, this impact wrench on setting 2 is about the perfect torque. Just hammer on it until it completely stops turning, And then there is a little indentation in the axle right here. So we just have to hit that with the BFH and the screwdriver. And put that back there. And put a little indentation in that. Like that, and that will stop that axle nut from being able to turn off. And we are set. We have our axle in. So now I'm ready to do the other side. I'm gonna go inside, go to bed, and get ready for work tomorrow. Take a shower, wash these dirty hands. But we'll do the other side tomorrow, and it'll be a little easier because the axle's not so far in there. And I'll try to put the axle in the right hole this time. You know, she was screaming, wrong hole. All right. I'll talk to y'all later. This is Tom, your Frugal Prepper.